Hello, my name's Lindsey Whittle. I also go by my art identity Sparklezilla, and I have another identity, which is my future self, which is like a more extreme version of both Lindsey and Sparklezilla, and that's Future Lindsey. And my husband and I have a band called Spacow for Now Future Band, and that's Future Clinton, Future Lindsey, and we do like weird sound art stuff. So this is Studio Saturdays where I have my coffee and I do my makeup and I talk about art stuff, and then I do like a long weird 8 hours of art, and then kind of see what the results are. Um, Today's going to be a little bit different because I'm also walking in the Cincinnati Pride Parade, and I knew this was going to be a problem, that Saturdays are often days that like people want to do stuff. So that's going to be an interesting thing of like, when do I sort of safeguard the day for this art day, and when do I let like other things creep in? And obviously like Pride is something I want to be a part of and I want to celebrate. So here's my weird plan. So I'm gonna do a little bit more of an extreme makeup today because I want to be celebratory, and I'll talk about some stuff, and then I actually have to go like drop off a microwave to, like, my city's having like a throwaway appliances day, and we replaced our microwave because it broke down, and we just have had this microwave in our kitchen forever. So I'm gonna do that. Really exciting. And then my mom's gonna drop me off downtown, and I'm gonna get as close to I know parking is gonna be a thing for the Cincinnati Pride Parade, so my mom's gonna drop me off as close as I can get. I'm gonna walk the rest of the way. And then Pride is gonna be like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then I'm gonna try to have my art day after that. I am a little bit like, am I gonna have enough energy? And I'm just gonna play it by ear. Something I'm really working on lately is just like not putting too much pressure on myself. And I've been telling my students to do it too. And I know it's easier said than done, but so I have no doubt that I'll get some stuff done. I just don't know if I'll have the same, like the last 2 Saturdays I've gotten up and I'm like ready to work. And I've walked this Pride Parade before, and I often come back like sunburnt and heat. Well, sun takes so much out of you, although it is cloudy today. So I hope it's like not raining, but like cloudy enough that we're not all sunburnt and miserable. But whatever, we'll have fun whatever happens. So I'm walking with my friend Jamie. We met in high school. We met at band camp. No joke. Like when they're like, I met at band camp that one time at band camp. It wasn't that kind of friendship, but Jamie and I were both trumpet players at EKU's band camp, and she's just amazing, and we've been friends ever since. So she works for the Cincinnati Bar Association, and she asked if I would walk as Future Lindsey, and I wanted to, but one time I walked a parade as the Joy Monster, which is a different costume mascot that I have. And I ended up getting so like overheated and dehydrated that I had this like massive nosebleed in the mascot head, which was really gross because I like couldn't escape it. It was just really gross. I'm not going to go into details for everybody, but so I was a little bit like worried about being able to sustain Future Lindsey for that long, and like, yeah. So I was like, I tell you what, I'll be as Sparklezilla as I can and I will come, but I can't do Future Lindsey. I'll have to brainstorm it. Maybe in the future, if I can brainstorm like a different version of her costume that's less cumbersome, then she'll show up for it. Yeah. So my outfit plan for today. So obviously the last 2 Saturdays when I did my makeup, I was just kind of playing because I knew I was going to be working at home all day. But since I'm going out and I'm trying to be as celebratory as possible, I think this makeup might be a little bit more, I don't know, eccentric, or more, I don't want to say extreme, but more. You can tell when I first wake up, my brain is like not on. Okay. So my outfit plan for today is I'm wearing some Rebirth Garment pants, and I pulled up Sky's little bio here so that we can, because my brain's not working yet and I wanted to honor Rebirth Garments. So Rebirth Garments are gender non-conforming wearables and accessories centering non-binary, trans, disabled, and mad queers of all sizes and ages, So Sky's like unstoppable. Sky's a good friend of Clint and I. I met Sky in grad school, and Sky has like this incredible fashion line that celebrates and represents so many people. But also Sky teaches and does performances and does zines. Like Sky's like this amazing force to be reckoned with, and super inspirational. But so yeah, I wanted to wear some Rebirth Garments pants that I have. Um, and then this is like just like a tank top that's got some of my stuff on it, but I was worried about it being too hot because I was gonna wear a different shirt that was more colorful, and I burn. I have that, my family comes from an Irish background, and my skin doesn't tan, it burns and goes back to this. And so I was a little bit apprehensive about wearing a tank top, but I also think so I made these flags last year as part of a collaborative project with my friend Ben Cook, and I think I'm gonna, and this flag is like really colorful. It's a print about Ben and I's work, but it's really colorful and it's got these like shiny iridescent pieces on the back. So I think I'm gonna wear the flag over like a cape. It'll just add more celebration and drama. And then hopefully that'll protect my little arms. And then I'm gonna wear my these are kind of dirty, but these are some colorful sneakers that I'm gonna wear because it's like a 2 mile walk, which isn't too bad, but I think if you had like uncomfortable shoes on, you would feel it. So that's like my outfit. Oh, something I still have to decide. So I have a different pair of glasses that I wanted to wear, but I can't find them. So I'll have to see how the outfit looks. So I might put my makeup on and then put this on, but I'm still deciding. So, okay. So I put my foundation, my lotion, and my foundation on, and I've kind of explained the backstory on those in the last two videos. But the lotion's really good and the foundation is expired and they don't make it anymore. And I bought as many as I can until they go out. So I think I'm going to do some kind of a like starburst thing coming out of my eye. I don't know, kind of gemming the holograms, but like in a starbursty kind of way. I never know how this is gonna go. So, okay, so I don't feel as prepared today as I did the last two Saturdays. Like I was so excited all week to like do Studio Saturday that I had like a plan of what I was gonna work on. But today is a little bit different because I have all these other things I have to do, so I feel a little scattered. I've mentioned a few times that I have ADHD and time blindness is real. And sometimes I just have like literally I didn't even plan how I was gonna pull off all the things I have to pull off today until like yesterday afternoon because that's how my time blindness works. But I try not to, I don't know. I try to just roll with it and not beat myself up about it. I like to be curious about things and not judgy. So I think I'm going to do some more. I loved doing this last week. I loved the reflection. So I think I'm going to do some, maybe not quite that long. Oh yeah. I'm liking the different textures and I like the reflectiveness. That's still a little too long. So I think I'm going to bring my art to-do list with me because I'm gonna wear this fanny pack that I usually keep my makeup in. And I think I'm gonna look at my art to-do list while I'm there so that I can decide how I'm gonna use my time when I get home, when there's like waiting time and I'm not hanging out with people. Because it is core, like I'm there to like celebrate everybody around me, and I'm there to hang out with my friend Jamie and her friends because they're amazing. I'm looking for a paperclip because I found one because that's how I put spirit gum on my stuff because I'm always ridiculous. So what I kind of wanted, I know I'm always so out of it in the morning, but what I kind of wanted to talk about is I've had so much success with these Studio Saturdays of sort of these like hyper fixated blocked off days to do stuff that I experimented this week. And I've been sort of like chunking my time for a while now, like in my notebook, everything's color coded. So I've already been sort of like thinking about things in terms of like sections, I guess you would call it. Remember when you put spirit gum on something, it doesn't stick as well. Like you have to let it get tacky a little bit. You can't put it on super wet. So I'm going to jiggle it a little bit before I put it on. I hope I don't. It's inevitable that I get this on my fingers. I just don't want to because it's like gross. So I'd already been thinking this way in my notes, but I was like, I'm going to try sort of the equivalent of Studio Saturday, like all week. And I'm going to chunk these different activities that need to get done. Ugh. I don't want it to like poke my eye, and it'll drive me crazy. I guess some glue leaked out, but it'll be okay. Yes. I'm such a weirdo. So I did this thing where I did like adulting Mondays, which was like obviously my least favorite thing. And I quantified an adulting task by like, does it make me feel sick to my stomach? Which is kind of sad, but true. So like something like taxes would fall under this category, or I'm going to make this a bigger triangle. Just, I don't know, like obligations, like stuff I'd been putting off, like that was sort of falling under adulting Mondays. You know what? I've already forgotten to do my eyebrows. Maybe it's a lie. Every single Studio Saturday, I'm like, oh, I usually do my eyebrows first, but I never do it first anymore. Oh, did you hear my cat? Ghost, what's the matter? I don't know. So I did adulting Mondays. I did writing and research Wednesdays. I did jobbing Fridays. Jobbing is like researching side hustles and working on listing some of my merch online, and just like, I always say that artists have to, like, okay, let's think about a brand like Target. Like they have a web design team and a social media team and a marketing team, and they do all of these things. Artists are expected to do all the things that these major corporations that have like a funded army to do these things do. So it's like, as an artist, I'm supposed to have like an intense social media presence about my work. I'm supposed to have a thorough website and store. I'm supposed to be like researching and applying to shows. And somewhere in there, I'm supposed to make some art, right? So it's a lot. But so jobbing is just kind of like a lot of that. So I'm like, jobbing is basically things that have some kind of a transaction to it. Like Clint and I are working a big con in September, so that's on jobbing Fridays, even though a lot of it's like more creative. It's still more transactionary, so that's why it's on jobbing Fridays. But I also put social media on, because I don't know, I feel like social media feels more like something like a job type. I don't know. But again, I'm just sort of chunking these things and seeing like, do these categories, does it feel like my brain is like hyperfixating on similar categories? And so this was all like trial and error. And then today's Studio Saturdays, and then Sunday was going to be cleaning Sunday. They don't all quite have the ring of Studio Saturdays, but it's, again, this was all an experiment because I was so affected by this sort of like hyperfixating on art for 8 hours. It was literally like fueling me for days. And I wanted to see if I could like be more productive if I hyperfixated on different tasks. Because I think part of my problem is like, I'm always so scattered. There's always so many things to do. And I'm like, which one should I do? And then I feel guilt for the things that I'm not working on. Whereas I found myself on Adulting Monday, like that was the hardest, right? Because that's all the stuff I don't want to do. And but what shocked me is I did get quite a lot done, but I did try to also procrastinate and sabotage it as much as I could, because that's my human brain. But I got more done than I expected, and more done on the things I don't like than I would. I want to cut this a little bit more, even though I already put glue on it. My scissors are gonna love that. Oh shoot. And I'm getting glue all over my face. Woo. Oh, the glue's pulling the foil off, the foil color off. Well, sometimes you do tests, and it didn't do that last week, I guess, because I really let it sit on there for a while. So yeah, I definitely did like avoid some stuff, but I still got stuff done, and I was like really excited. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays I teach. So I didn't plan anything on those days because often I'm really tired after I teach. but I did like I feel like because I was like on this productive roll, I did come home from those days and get more done than I normally would. So I'm intrigued, and I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself because I'm one of those people that's like all or nothing, like I'm just like really intense, like I have to get it perfect, or I have those perfectionist fantasies, like I have to perfectly do this or it doesn't count. And so I'm trying to just be like, let's see what happens. Let's see how your brain goes with this. So overall, I felt like it was pretty successful in terms of like I would make a lot of choices under the theme. Like on Research Wednesday, I also had to run a bunch of errands. And I was like I was choosing to listen to podcasts that I knew had like a lot of learning outcomes because that like fit the theme. So it's like guiding me throughout the day, like knowing like, okay, this is the theme of the day. So when I have to make a choice, I'm going to let that guide my theme. So that was really helpful. And like I said, it kind of set a productive tone. I love being productive. That's sort of like a fun thing for me. But here's where the kink happened. And I knew this would be the case. I guess I should back up. I should say that like I'm surprised that this strategy worked. I just dropped the paperclip into this beer gum. It is at the bottom. It is lost to us. A new paperclip must be acquired. I struggle with the biggest problem that every other artist struggles with, and that is like giving yourself permission to like have downtime and enjoy downtime. Because like artists don't really get time off. Like they don't really, like you do whatever job you need to do to like pay your bills, and then any other time is like art time. Like you're just like, oh, I have 5 minutes. I should like work towards my work. Or like I had a therapist that would always ask me like, what are your hobbies? What do you do for fun? And I'm like, I don't have time for that. like it was just, but any other artist I know gets it. And I was really relieved to marry an artist because he gets it. He gets when I'm super cranky, he's like, it might be time to make some art, and vice versa to him. Like we know when it's been too long. Like, so it's just a weird thing that artists they struggle with downtime. It's a reality of being an artist. And I knew that going into it. I knew I was like, wow, this is a dense week. Like I was like, and so I thought and kind of hoped that on Tuesdays and Thursdays after teaching, I would be like, oh, I'll take a long nap and I'll rest. But then, yeah, so I was kind of just playing it by ear, seeing how my energy, it was like a science experiment. Like, how's my energy? How am I feeling? Emotional and physical energy. And so I got a lot done on Tuesday. I did take a nap, but I also got some stuff done, which pleasantly surprised me because I'm like I'm just such an extremist. I'm either like get a million things done in a day or like sleep the entire day. Like I'm not a middle ground person. And then Thursday I had a bunch of meetings all day, so I couldn't rest or be productive. I just went to meetings. And that's another way I thought I could be strategic, is like I'm already dressed and out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I could like plan meetings on those days so I can be productive on the home days. I'm liking this. I'm not done, but I'm liking it. I'm thinking, oh yes. So I knew it was a stacked week and that at some point I would need to like crash. So yesterday was supposed to be the jobbing and social media day. And I've mentioned a few times in these that I struggle with anxiety and depression. I've had anxiety my whole life. Depression has only been the last few years. And that's been really hard for me because I've learned, I'm putting glue on this. I've spent a long time with therapists in a variety of situations learning how to manage anxiety because I've had it like my whole life. So even though I don't like anxiety, I feel like I know what to do as soon as it hits. Like I'm like, okay. And I like go through my things of like, breathing and getting exercise and laughing. And there's things, depends on what level of anxiety. If I'm at like a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I'm totally fine, which has never happened, and 10 being like I'm having a panic attack and I'm really in bad shape. I kind of live at a 6, which I wish I lived at like a 4. So it's easy so 7 or higher, I'm in like triaging mode. Like my limbic system's freaking out and I can't be rational. So if you live at a 6, it's not hard to tip into a 7. So my life goal is to like find a way to get down to living at like a 4 or 5. We'll see, hopefully someday. And like I had mentioned, we just had like a lot of challenging stuff happen to us this year. So I actually feel like there have been parts of this year where I was living at like an 8 or a 9. No, this one's harder to put on to my face because of the bend in my nose. I always used to tell myself and my students, Coco Chanel, who was not a great person, so I don't really love to like reference her, but she used to get dressed and then look in the mirror and take one thing off, and that's how she knows that she's ready. And my friend Grace and I always joke that like when we're making art, like if we laugh at it, we know that we're like onto something. So like for me, when I get dressed, I look in the mirror, and if I like, instead of taking something off, I probably put like 5 or 10 more things on. And then if I laugh at myself a little bit, I like know I'm onto something good. So I'm onto something good today. So yeah, struggle with anxiety and depression. Depression has been harder for me because it's new. And even though I'm always stressed, I always have like a lot of drive and hope and excitement. And so when I have those moments of hopelessness, and it started after I lost a lot of people at once, and I hit this level of grief that was like really new and intense for me. And that's when it started a couple years ago. And then it comes back it shows up. It's a thing now. Fun. So Friday, I was hitting kind of like yesterday, I was hitting a weird depression thing. And like I said, I'd been productive all week and I knew I was like struggling emotionally. So I just decided to lay in bed and read a book the whole day. And it was awesome. It was a really good book. It definitely was not for kids. It had some explicit sections, but it was like I laughed out loud, I cried out loud. I think it was called Fine Print. I think I've mentioned I'm doing this book project where I'm trying to read 108 books in a year. So I devour books very fast this year. So sometimes I forget what I read, but it was really good. I had all the feels. So I did that from like literally and it was so good. I like didn't even stop to eat lunch. Like it was just a really good book. And so literally from like 9 or 10 to 5, I read a book in bed. And then what surprised me is I still got up and did some jobbing and social media stuff, which surprised me. I thought I would just be a bum the rest of the day, but it was like, I needed to get this, like, I just needed to like chill in bed and read a book. And then I got up and got some stuff done. So I like paid some bills, and then I did some research, and then I posted a bunch of stuff to my different social media accounts. And so all I'm saying is I'm going to keep up this experiment. I'm intrigued. I want to see where it goes. Yeah. I mean, I do have some fears. So this Thursday, I'm going to go to Clint's house in Owensboro and see my in-laws, who I haven't seen probably since Christmas, which is really sad, but it's because Clint ended up getting T-boned in like March, maybe. Thankfully he was fine. Car was not fine. And then we got into some insurance limbo, as everyone does. It was just like my car is like 20 years old. It's a Corolla. So it's just been like annoying to have like no safe road trip car, and the insurance was really giving us the runaround. It was just a weird time. Like I said, it's been a weird year. So anyways, this week I'm going to see my in-laws, and I'm going to be there through the 4th of July. I'm making I'm trying to make choices about these colors and stuff. That's why I kind of keep pausing. And then what's on my mind is like, am I still going to do Studio Saturday while I'm there? And I've got lots of stuff I could work on digitally, so I'm not, and I love that. I love when, like, what is studio time? Do you have to physically be in your studio? So I love this idea of like redefining what is studio work. So on one hand, that feels like a fun challenge. On the other hand, I haven't seen my in-laws in forever. I should like focus on spending time on them. So maybe I get up really early and then I do stuff before they get up, or I don't know. So I'm like, but then there's this fear in this ADHD me that's like, if you skip a studio Saturday, will that like, will you not go back to it? Or I don't know. Like I'm this like, when I commit to a project, I commit really hard. So a part of me is like, I should at least do it a little bit so that I keep up. But then literally the following Saturday, my mom has been working for like 6 months on a family reunion. So that's like 2 Saturdays in a row that I'm not sure. Cause normally, like I said, I try to safeguard this time, but um I also want to honor, like I don't want to miss Pride. I'm not going to miss this family reunion. I'm not going to not see my in-laws, so it's an interesting, that's what's kind of on my mind is like, I've had some good momentum with this blocking and getting stuff done and like enjoying it. And life is weird and hard. Being an adult is weird and hard. So all I'm saying is this system is working really well for me. And it's okay if nothing like this works for you. I love experimenting on productivity and time. And so this is like right up, and I like to focus on curiosity over judgment. So, like I said, yesterday did not go how I had planned. And that's okay. So then I just kind of, instead of being like, oh, I'm a failure, I just kind of analyze what was going on and see what I think. And so I'm hoping, I listened to this podcast this week on ADHD from Cara Lowenthal. I do her coaching program. I'm obsessed. She's amazing. And there was this podcast on her. It was probably like 3 or 4 down if you go to her page, which is Unf Your Brain. And it was on ADHD, and they talked about not focusing on consistency, but persistence. And that was like, it was really helpful for me to hear because ADHD people can't always, do the same. Like I intentionally work a job that's like not the same every day. Like I can't, it's just not how my brain works. And so that's been like, okay, as long as you're being persistent with your goals and ideas, it doesn't have to be perfectly consistent, and it's okay if it's like different sometimes. So it'll be interesting how I end up reporting back about, I have fears that somehow I'll lose momentum by all this like travel and other stuff going on. But I also know that like I really have been enjoying and caring about these studio days and sharing it through conversation and video. And so I think it'll be fine. I think I'm overthinking it. Shocker. So yeah, so that's been, I feel like this week was a big dive into experimenting on time chunking. And like I said, it blows my mind that it's actually working because I feel like I've done stuff like this before. But I was telling Clint, I feel like it may just be like a melting pot of things. Cause like I said, I do this coaching program, which is like practicing how to be intentional with your mind. And I think my brain is in the right place to be able to do this chunking. And I've also spent like years like organizing my life into categories to make more sense of it. So it was easy for me to chunk. Like I didn't have to spend too much time thinking about what stuff should be chunked. And by chunking, I mean like I said, Wednesdays is like writing and research, because to me those feel in the same zone. So I use like the same part of my brain to do it. And like Friday is jobbing, but it's also like researching grants. And so I'm like researching grant and art opportunities, paid ideally. And I'm like brainstorming side hustles, and I'm posting to social media. So I'm like chunking them into categories that feel like they're the same part of my brain, so I don't get distracted. So I'd spent many years already putting things into categories. So I think it was easy for me to put them into this time strategy. So it could just be this thing where I've been working towards this goal in subtle ways that I didn't know about it. And now I'm just finally putting it in action. So I guess I'm just trying to say, like, keep experimenting, keep trying things. You know, the coach that I keep talking about, Cara Lowenthal, she always says, like, give yourself as many chances as you need to be the person that you want to be. You know, don't give up just because like there was a setback. Like, just keep trying and see where it takes you. And so this experiment's been really fun, and I'm really curious about it, and I'm going to keep being curious about it. I'm not going to judge myself, and I'm not going to like hold myself to these perfectionist fantasies where if it's not perfect, I'm going to stop. Like, sorry, I got some skin issues happening there. Classic. So yeah, I might like screw up a chunk and read a book in a day, and I might be traveling and doing family reunion stuff. And the biggest thing with that is like, I want to let myself enjoy that time away. Like, okay, so what? I'm not being productive. That's okay. I don't want to be too hard on myself. I said that to my students all week because I have some really hardcore students. This is a really weird brush. It's Clint's brush, but I feel like I'm brushing a horse or something, but I'm brushing my hair. I have some really amazing, intense students that are just like working like dogs. And I get it, because when you're in grad school, there's such, oh, here's a comb. There's such little time. So you want to get as much done as possible. But at the same time, that it's a weird balance, because you can only work yourself for a dog for so long before you hit burnout. So it's finding a balance, like, especially because, you know, some of them have kids, some of them have lives. So I was talking to them about like, I don't just want you to take a break, but I want you to like give yourself permission to like enjoy the break. Like, don't just watch a Netflix movie, but you have to sit there and not guilt yourself the whole time for not working, which is maybe the hardest thing we do as artists. You know, so like there would be a part of me, old me, that hasn't done a lot of thought work, would guilt myself like crazy for being at a family reunion, even though family reunion is like an amazing thing. Like, you're going to see people that you haven't seen in forever. It's a great thing. And I want, like, being social and people are a huge part of my work and my life. So it's so funny that my human brain wants to like mess with me. But now I would say like, okay, like, you are going to this funeral reunion, and you're going to let yourself just like savor that time, and you're not going to guilt yourself for these other things that you'll do at later times, because sometimes time is so weird. Sometimes in 8 hours I get like one task done, and sometimes in 15 minutes I get like 70 tasks done. Like, it's not about how much time that you have, it's like how much you have to give to the time. And so like, if I fill my tank at this reunion and feel really energized, I might get like 3 times as much done than I would have gotten if I had not gone. So I don't know if this is making any sense, but time is hard and weird. Being an artist, the mentality of being an artist is hard and weird. So yeah, I don't have a plan for the rest of the day, because I'm just going to be patient with myself and know that I'm trying to juggle a lot today. But I am going to work on art stuff, and it'll be good. This is closer to what I probably look like every day. Not every day, because this is like a little bit more elaborate than I would normally do. I'm going to put a paper sash on, and I'm going to put that tape on. I'm pretty close to ready, which is great. Still trying to decide about these sunglasses. Oh, this is a Rebirth garment earring too. I wish I could find the other sunglasses, because I feel like these take up too much. So I don't know, maybe I'll look for those a little bit more. So thanks for listening to my distracted conversation on time. And I'm excited to report back later today. I'll try to get a picture of my whole outfit that I can share. All right, well, I'll check in later today. My cat just came to say hello. Do you want to say hello? No, she doesn't. She does her own thing. Happy Pride. Okay, it is 9:30, and I feel like it's been like 10 hours since I recorded my morning video where I was like getting ready. Pride was really fun, and you know, in true Lindsey fashion, I caught myself trying to like you know, I had to really rally myself to go. It was not that I didn't want to go. It was just like I knew there would be like a lot of crowds and a lot of sun and a lot of walking. And sometimes that can like really drain me. So sometimes I have to rally myself. But of course, like as soon as I got there, like I was so inspired by all the people and the looks and the energy. And like I feel like I have like 50 ideas of things I want to make. Like it was a really great event. I had fun with my friends and we were having a blast in the parade. So like it was like I knew it was gonna be good, but I also knew I had to like get myself in a place to go. So I definitely wasn't as productive as I've been the last two studio Saturdays. I never got to read to the plant. I'm sure it's devastated. I'm going out of town on Thursday, so I might actually try to read to it on Wednesday, just because I know it thrives when it's read to. But I did work on um, processing the residency documentation. And I'm just, yeah, I mean, even though that's all I got to, and it was one of those things where I ended up doing a lot of it in my bed on my computer because I came home just like the sun just takes a lot out of me. I don't know why, but I realized I haven't taken this stuff off yet. But my friends were like, what if like any sun you got like leaves, leaves these shapes on your face? So that'll be a fun experiment when I take this off. Um, but sometimes when I'm just like exhausted because the sun like always really drains me and it's just like, what's it gonna take for me to get stuff done? And I was like, I think I just need to work on this in bed because I'll still work on it, but I can like be tired and work on it. So I just now like started working at my desk again. So I was moving slow, but I still worked on it. And I think that's what's huge. It's like some days you're going to kill it and you're going to get a ton of stuff done. And some days you're only going to get a little bit done. But what matters is like I'm still showing up for it and processing all this New York documentation is like so, I don't know, it just like lights a fire in me. So yeah, so that's what I've been working on. And just like cutting myself slack. And I, like I said earlier, like I was telling my students to do this all week. Like, don't just let yourself watch a Netflix movie or read a book or whatever, but enjoy it. Like don't don't do the thing you want to do and then guilt yourself the whole time for not working. So I was moving a little bit slow today because I physically exerted myself more than I normally would, which is like getting vitamin D and exercise and social time. Look, yep, I'm seeing some sun. uh, we'll see. All of that is good for you. And if I didn't make as much art, but I was like taking care of myself in these other ways, I think that'll show up back in the work in a different way. Sometimes I think the most radical thing we can do is like be nice to ourselves. I just feel like we are so hard on ourselves all the time. And so yeah, I'm proud of myself for still showing up. I was working on a blob while I was working on the residency stuff. So I'm proud of myself for still showing up for it, even though it was like a crazier day than normal. And I'll continue experimenting with my chunking, my day chunking, and I'll follow up with it. So, like I said, next week I'm supposed to be visiting my in-laws. I am not sure if I'm going to do this or not, TBD. So if I don't do a video next week, you'll expect one the following week. But I might do stuff from the farm. They have terrible service, and do some like digital art. We will see. Thanks for watching. If anybody ever wants me to talk about specific things, just comment. I'm here for it. I love to talk about art and life. I'm an open book. I want to hear what people want to hear.